Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, helping understand best practice and big picture. And we're going to talk a little bit about this drop and this recovery. Part of it could be because of the fact that U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell announces we're fairly close to interest rates, at least target interest rates, which is good. Essentially, the market likes that. You can watch this video, of course, on my Twitter if you'd like, and or Telegram. Discord, we have it all covered there. So link down below for that. Speaking of Discord, really quick, congratulations to our community members here. Fantastic stuff. We took a short from Frontier yesterday. Mind you, 5x leverage trade. We hit 40% in 56 minutes. Also got an open trade here with PHB, basically Phoenix, and that is 20% there in about a day and 4 hours. So really, really good shorts here recently. We took some nice shorts. We still got a few longs open because I feel comfortable with the price action that we're having right now. You can kind of see we have this power of 3 here roughly. Again, this isn't exact, but just kind of a general understanding of the fact that when you have these kind of situations, the drop down, the price will kind of work with itself into a range, come to an upper range, sweep the liquidity, come right back down here to sweep that lower liquidity level. Okay, so again, pretty standard stuff, but generally speaking, we're consolidating at 0.5, 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. That's exactly kind of what we were hoping for. Okay, so again, hopefully get in around that 26,000 mark. The price candle wicked exactly down to 26,000, no coincidence. So we'll talk about that. And last but not least, let's go ahead and open it up here with our high block capital data here. So what we want to talk about really quick is just some liquidation levels. We've got a heavy amount of liquidation levels here for our longs at about 25.5. Okay, that's the largest amount of accumulation there, closer to the price action. We've also got some liquidation levels that starting at 27.1, but the largest amount of accumulation about 27.7. So we do get that wick up just above that previous resistance level, that previous high, most recent high at about 27.5. We will see some shorts get liquidated pretty hard. Okay, so again, as you can kind of see, it's really common for stop losses to be placed just above most recent highs or most recent lows. Reason for that is because the fact that that's a resistance level, right? So you got to recognize that if you're going to be setting stop losses, that might be a good consideration for you. Taking a look at liquidations, we don't have a tremendous amount of liquidations yet, but so far shorts are getting more liquidated than longs today here. We can see here as well this is basically the net longs versus net shorts. Okay, this is aggregated across multiple exchanges, 3 largest exchanges out there. And what we can see here so far is that the amount of shorts has been pretty much stagnant and steady for the last couple of days, or probably a better way to summarize it, last week or so, couple weeks. And we can see within the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot more longs entering the market. So the market's shifting a little bit of its momentum, where we're kind of entering this this middle ground where we have almost the same amount of longs versus the same amount of shorts. Okay? So it tells us that we're pretty much, I wouldn't say necessarily at our bottom, but we're right at the bottom top. So we're right at this little point where we got to see a major move one way or the other to be able to go ahead and shift that momentum, so to speak. And usually when that happens, we see a massive increase or decrease in price. That's what Bollinger Bands does for us too. It kind of squeezes out, and as those price action kind of gets closer, you'll see this explosion in either direction, as it can only sustain for so long in that level. So let's take a quick look at some open interest here. Take a look at the longs here. We can kind of see net longs are in the green. We got a majority of the longs hedged right there at 26,100. So 26.1 is the largest amount of accumulation there. We can also see with shorts that there is a large amount of accumulation. This wonderful yellow screen at 26.1 as well. So shorts and longs are both hedged very heavy at 26.1. Taking a look here at liquidation here, just generally speaking for the last 7 days. Let's go ahead and add a few exchanges here. And just kind of see, generally speaking, when we look at this, we can see a majority of the liquidation levels to the downside have already been swept, or there's a lot less of them, okay? There's a lot more liquidation levels at about 27,600, 27.6. So now that this lower liquidity level, about 26.5, just got swept, we should experience and likely have more probability of the price action going up from here to test those higher levels. In other words, when you have liquidation levels occur and you sweep all the liquidation, the next target is the opposite, okay? And what I mean by that is just that we are more likely to come up here and sweep this level than we are to sweep a lower level, okay? So what that really just tells us is there's a lot more short-term bias right now, or a lot more shorts in the market than there are longs, and the more likelihood for those to have a target on their back, if you will, okay? So just kind of some back-end stuff to think about. I'm not saying the price is just going to shoot up there and squeeze them out, but there's a good chance we could see that as a higher probability than the price continuing lower from here. Once again, we are entering this volume support, so we take a look. We're right at the range where we see the most amount of volume accumulated since we've been in this range in the last month, basically 5 weeks. Last 5 weeks, we've been stuck in this range here, and the most amount of volume is hedged at about 26,000. So a long from 26,000 would seem appropriate at this point, because it's going to take a lot of volume to drop down below that level. Okay, so just keep in mind the probability of the price going down lower is less versus the price coming up from here. It may not shoot up here, but it should continue to consolidate at this level. Again, we see a lot of accumulation at 26,000 even. So take a look at the daily. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We can see that we are kind of hedging, or hovering really close to 50 on the RSI. What that tells us here is that we are not bullish or bearish, but generally speaking, we're below that level, but the money flow index is still high. So I'm not super concerned with that. I do see here that a divergence is forming, but keep in mind, oftentimes you'll see that bounce and the price continues higher from there. So there's a lot of different schools of thought here, but these are not overly concerning yet. We want to go ahead and wait and give it time. But looking at the moving averages though, this is something that's kind of consistent, and I just want to kind of reaffirm this because I've talked about this a few times. I sent it out on my playout charts there through Twitter and Telegram. As the price continues to digress, we're starting to see that 50-day SMA holding steady. Okay, so that's basically working as a descending trend. Until we break up above that level, I wouldn't expect the price to surge or to continue much higher. You also got to recognize the 200-day SMA is right here at this range too. So if the price comes up, it'll probably get rejected there. Okay, it would make sense for the price to come up to this level, because then we're going to sweep this liquidity here, and of course we'd reject off the 200-day SMA. It's a very common occurrence the first time you see that. Again, you saw it right here as well. While it wasn't the cleanest, it definitely occurred. Okay, so again, resistance level until it's not. So for now, I think that we are going to probably see, more likely to see 27.5 range retested in the relative near future, and then of course have a rejection there at about 28,000. My original goal was to short at 28,000. We barely missed our entry, but that's okay. That's just the way it goes. That's how trading is, right? It's a series of missed opportunities. But again, you catch the good stuff, right? Just like we did here with Frontier, nice 40% in 1 hour, and PHP Phoenix there at 20%. Been a pretty good profit-taking situation though. We took some profits from Terra Classic as well. I got high hopes for that one too. Okay, so last but not least here, let's go ahead and look at the 4 hour and the 1 hour and call it a day. Sorry, getting a little off topic, but what I want to talk about here is that we're tentatively below all 3 moving averages. We're below 50 on the RSI, and we have a potential convergence here forming. Okay, so what that basically just means is kind of somewhat of a wash. In other words, when you're bearish going into the 50-day SMA, or correction, more so 50 on the RSI, you have a tendency of rejecting at that level. So we could see a resistance at 26.5 initially, because obviously we have a lot of volume just above this level here where it consolidated throughout the weekend. Okay, so to me, when I see this kind of stuff, I don't really want to take a long position. This doesn't incentivize me to want to take a long or short. What does incentivize me is all those liquidation levels up above, and the fact that we've already swept the most recent levels of liquidation. And then furthermore, too, I would say this convergence is more appropriate, and the fact that we are trending positively for now. But again, on the daily, we still don't have that confirmation we've broken this descending trend yet either. Okay, so for me personally, Bitcoin, it's just kind of on the sideline for the moment. I can say though that generally speaking, a lot of altcoins are doing fairly well right now. And a lot of that is based on the Bitcoin dominance and price action too. So if you're not familiar with this too, make sure to check out our education section. I actually have it pinned to make it easy. But this is something that's kind of important to recognize, because altcoins are increasing right now because we're seeing some stability in Bitcoin. Okay, so once Bitcoin stabilizes with its dominance, then we can kind of see a lot more direction, if you will. Yeah, so for right now, I wouldn't be super excited about Bitcoin. I'm not anyways, and I would recommend just considering some altcoins. Actually, I've been covering some really good ones here lately, and that's a conversation for another day. So on the hourly, last but not least here, let's take a look at the cloud. We did break down below the cloud, but once again, we are fairly range bound over the weekend. So somewhat of a false positive, but the thing that is accurate is this lagging span kind of tells us if you have a short position open, you probably should have closed it by now, because the momentum is shifting from bearish to bullish. Okay, again, it's shifting. It doesn't mean it's occurred yet. Okay, so please recognize that. So don't walk away from this conversation thinking that I'm 100% bullish. I just feel like 26,000 is going to be a strong support. We're more likely to sweep our upper liquidity levels than our lower liquidity levels at this point, based on a lot of volume that we have at this range. Okay. Again, volume is something that people don't talk a lot about, and I think it's really important to recognize that with increased volume, you have sustainability and price action. And so far, we're starting to see the volume kick up here above that moving average, which is common for Monday, don't get me wrong, but as long as we can continue to maintain this, I think the price will go up for Bitcoin here. So I'm tentatively more bullish on Bitcoin than I am the fact that it could potentially drop moving forward. Okay, so I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. If I didn't make any sense, comment below, let me know. If you have some insight too, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your considerations for Bitcoin? What are your predictions as well? Because in truth, none of us truly do know, but you can kind of be statistically more likely to see one direction or the other, right? And that's kind of what I like to do. So again, help us jump on over to our, our Discord here. We got an awesome, great community here. A lot of fun to be able to just interact with some great traders. And of course, same thing with our Telegram and Twitter. All those are linked down below. Got a lot of good situations going on over there. We have a tremendous amount of fundamental and technical data. Looking forward to work with you though. Let me know your thoughts. Look forward to talk to you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.